Yo, it's Travelli, I'm back, and today I'm telling you why Notre Dame is the most overrated team in college football. I'll be basing this off stats, player analysis, and of course a schedule breakdown. So if you can, just leave a like, a comment, and a subscribe. I'd be dropping videos Monday through Friday, and I really appreciate the engagement, so let's jump right into the action. Now, Notre Dame is ranked number 3. They have had an extremely easy schedule to start the season, which I'm going to break down right now. They played Duke, USF, FSU, and Louisville. They had a game at Wake Forest, postponed until later in the season, sometime in early December, I think the 12th. Now, they start the season versus Duke, okay? Duke is the worst team in the ACC at 1-5, and they win 27-13. You can say whatever you want about that. I know the ACC because I'm an ACC fan. The ACC is atrocious this year. There's no reason for them to win 27-13 versus Duke. That should be a 45 or 41 point blowout if Notre Dame is truly a number 3 team, which of course they came into the season ranked number 10, and they should not have been rewarded. When they won that game, they jump up to number 7. So they were rewarded for a terrible performance versus Duke at home week 1. They follow it up with a great performance at home versus a high school team in USF, which of course, the American has been known for producing great teams over the last few years. USF this year is not one of them. They are atrocious this season. I don't know how else to say it. So they get their win 52-0. They go and play FSU. If you have been watching FSU over the last couple seasons, you have seen the downfall from the Jimbo Fisher years and the Taggart wagon falling out of place, and now the same thing is happening all over again. They are atrocious this season. You give up 26 points to FSU, another 2-score win versus a very bad ACC football team, and then followed up with the absolute stinker 12-7 versus Louisville, who's 1-4, who can't stop anybody. Okay, but they stopped Notre Dame. So that schedule so far shows me that they really shouldn't be ranked number 3. They are being rewarded for really bad play all around at home. The rest of their schedule is about to get very difficult, and I don't know how they're going to perform now that they got all of these cupcake games out of the way at home. Will they be prepared to play tough games on the road? That could be one way to say it. Or has this just shown their true identity? They are not a number 3 football team. They're going to play on the road at Pitt on ABC this week. So you can go ahead and watch that. I think it's going to be a close game because Pitt always has a very stout defense, so they're not going to be able to score a lot of points, and that's going to be close. Now, they might get a nice win versus Georgia Tech because that is a cupcake who just lost 73-7 to Clemson. But then they have to go ahead and play the big beast, number 1 Clemson. Then they play at Boston College. Then they play at North Carolina. Then they play at home versus Syracuse. That's a cupcake. And then at Wake Forest. So the way I look at it, I see two losses here. Any way you slice it, they could lose at Pitt. They're going to lose the Clemson game by probably 30 plus. They could lose at Boston College. They could lose at number 14 North Carolina. And there's absolutely no reason to say that they belong at number 3 if they're losing at number 14 North Carolina, okay? And if they're getting blown out by 30 by Clemson, because Miami is a great team, but they lost 42-17 to Clemson, and they are outside of the top 10. So you have to understand how things work. If Notre Dame loses by 30 to Clemson, they don't belong in the top 10 either, okay? Because their schedule is a joke, and they have barely handled it thus far. Now, we can break down the statistics. We're looking at the quarterback, Ian Book. He's not special at all. If this is the quarterback of a number 3 team and you're expecting them to play against Georgia or Alabama in a playoff, you have lost your marbles, man. This guy has thrown for 714 yards in 4 games at home versus terrible defenses. That is awful. Now, you could say 61% completion rating. That's also bad. You could say, okay, but he's kind of a running quarterback because you're not giving him credit for the 126 rushing yards. Fine, so I'll add that in. So the guy has, let's say, accounted for 850 yards total through 4 games. That's 210, 212 yards a game. Nothing special whatsoever. Okay, 5 rushing touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns, 1 interception. So he doesn't turn the ball over. I can at least admit that, and he has a good quarterback rating. However, put all the pieces together. 8 touchdowns and 850 yards in 4 games versus bad defenses, and it's about to get a lot more difficult. So has he performed well? No. This is a rushing football team. They have 1,044 rushing yards on the season to 719 passing yards. So you know that they're running the ball more than passing. If they get down in the game, this guy is going to struggle to bring them back. Now, their starting running back, Kyren Williams, 486 rushing yards. He has had a couple nice runs, one for a 65-yard touchdown. He has had 4 touchdowns. So their rushing game is nice. I can't lie about that. But it's nothing special, okay? It's not number 3 special. It's not even close. Now, when we're breaking down their defense and who they've played, you can make an argument, yeah, they have a decent defense, okay? Because the 52-0 win versus USF, they hold Louisville to 7, they hold Duke to 13, okay? So that's all going to help your defensive rating. Okay, I want to compare Notre Dame to Marshall to make my point right now. And you might think I'm crazy, but this is very simple. Look at what Marshall has done on the defensive side of the ball and who they played against. It's very similar to Notre Dame. They are a very similar football team to Notre Dame. They have played both very weak strength of schedules. However, Marshall has at least played a ranked team in Appalachian State, who was number 22 at the time, and they beat them 17-7. So one thing that I look at is Notre Dame playing very weak strength of schedule, has a good defense, very bad offense. Marshall playing very weak strength of schedule, at least had a ranked game, has a good offense that's scoring 35 plus a game and holding teams to 10 points or less. They're not getting the same amount of credit as Notre Dame, but they have literally a better defensive rating based on who they've played and what they have allowed. They allow 9.5 points a game. Notre Dame allows 11.5. Like I said, at least Marshall's played a ranked team, okay? That is better than anyone that Notre Dame has played so far this year. And they hold them to 7 points. So you can make up your own judgment on that. But when I'm comparing 2 top 4 defenses, one team is ranked number 22 in the nation, that's 4-0, with a better offense and a better defense. The other team has underperformed, but because they are a blue blood and they're studded with 5 stars across the board, they refuse to let this team tank in the rankings, but they really should. I mean, if you really look at it across the board, quarterback isn't special. Running back is good, but nothing to carry a number 3 offense. Their defense is good, but I just gave you an example of another 4-0 team with a good offense, weak strength of schedule, who's blown out everyone they've played so far, and they're only ranked number 22. So you tell me why Notre Dame belongs at number 3. With who they've played against? No, they haven't played a ranked team yet, and they haven't had a blowout besides USF. Okay? I like the ACC, but I'm willing to admit that the ACC is very weak. If you are struggling with low-tier ACC teams, not once, not twice, but 3 times, you are going to struggle with the teams in the college football playoff, which means you will not make it there. So, based on the players, based on the statistics, and based on, obviously, they're going to get blown out by Clemson, and I said they're going to have 2 losses on the season. So where does that leave them? It leaves them probably at the end of the season ranked number 21, where they always are, like 21 or 22 or 17 or 18. They're never, ever in the college football playoff because they're a disguised bad team. They like to disguise Notre Dame as a good team to fill up spots early in the season, but now that you put them in the ACC this year and they're struggling with Duke and Louisville, who are combined 2-9, you can't hide it anymore. This team is overrated. They should not be number 3. They should not be sniffing the top 5. And if you have something to say about it, leave it in the comments, and I'd be more than willing to debate it with you. That's all I got to say today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and peace!